A lot of information have been revealed to the public about Starfield, Bethesda's upcoming space-themed role-playing game, and while it seems that what was shown to us was overall well received, it also appears that what we've learned about the upcoming title's gameplay has created a little bit of frustration for a part of the gaming community, including some famous online commentators and news outlets. And while I am by no means a Bethesda shill or fanboy, in fact I have never played any of their titles, I believe though that for every upcoming game that's ever being announced, it remains important to always remain properly informed and set our expectations appropriately, because if you don't, then you'll more likely be in for a major delusion, as we've seen with so many people over the past couple of days. Hey guys, welcome to the channel, it's the Eradicator, and in today's video we will go over some of the biggest concerns that have risen over the past couple of days regarding Starfield, including planetary landings, combat, procedural planets, and spaceflight, and I will do my best to try to explain why these particular aspects of the game shouldn't be too much of a concern. Alright, let's dive in first into some of the concerns that we've been hearing for the past couple of days already, the biggest of them being planetary landings, or I should say the lack of planetary landings, since it has been confirmed by game director Todd Howard in a recent interview that very early on they decided to rule out this feature for the simple reason that it just doesn't add much value-added gameplay. And I think that as much as I personally love landing my ships in space simulation games like Elite Dangerous and especially Star Citizen, I believe that this is not something that would add anything to Starfield, because Starfield, in Starfield, flying a ship is not going to be the main focus of the game. It's not the core of the game. Starfield is a narrative role-playing game, and your interactions with the game's characters and story elements are going to be the core of the gameplay and what you will be looking forward to as a player most of the time. While in Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous, flying your ship is the core of the gameplay experience, and seamlessly transitioning from space to surface and then manually land is actually quite a time-consuming activity that is very much enjoyed in those games, but I'm pretty much sure that it will be considered a waste of time by role-playing gamers for Starfield, just like, for example, taking a train in Star Citizen is considered a waste of time by people who want to fly ships only. Next, let's talk about combat. And remember, guys, that Starfield is a role-playing game, so I think it is important to remember where we're coming from here. I mean, in the not-so-distant past, combat in role-playing games were turn-based, and then they became ability-based, meaning that you had to press some buttons and your character was then performing the desired actions. It's only been until recently that RPGs have started to feature real-time combat, but of course, those combat phases are never going to be as realistic as those found in games like Arma or Star Citizen, for example. Simply because the developers may not have the expertise, but especially because it is not what the average role-playing game wants when playing an RPG. That is why both on ground and in space, combat in Starfield feels this arcadey, because it does need to be fast-paced and action-packed to be fun, but also accessible enough so that a low-skilled player might do decently against a low-skill enemy, while, at the same time, being able to dispose of their foes and learning the ropes while getting more experience and skill points to strengthen their characters. If combat was to be similar to Arma or Call of Duty, anyone who would replay the game would be instantly very good from the start, thus completely breaking the feeling of character progression, which is so important in a role-playing game. Next, let's talk about the game's planets, and a big question that people have had since the reveal of the gameplay at the Xbox presentation was whether or not we will have the ability to explore all of these planets here, and yes, it has been confirmed that these planets will be entirely explorable, but the question remains, how interesting are they going to be? And again, based on what we've seen in games like Elite Dangerous or Star Citizen, I don't think that apart from specifically crafted locations designed for the game's story, like for example the Crete abandoned science outpost we saw at the Xbox presentation, I don't think that we'll find much to do apart from collecting resources or hunting wildlife or maybe taking pretty screenshots. But again, this is the same as in actual space simulators. As far as I'm concerned, for example, I for one never spend time on planet surfaces away from mission locations like bunkers or wrecks, because as much as I appreciate the Planet Tech team's work when I play a game, I want to be at the heart of the action where something is happening, and I am less interested in wandering in the middle of nowhere looking for my next desktop wallpaper. But hey, you know, I know that some of you guys like to do that, and that's totally fine. All I am saying here is that, again, this is not the core experience of a role-playing game, which is more about character progression and the narration of the game itself. Finally, let's talk about spaceflight, and here again I have seen a lot of very disappointed people being sometimes unreasonable in the various comment sections that I've read, and I've even read a comment saying that the flight experience looks like what mobile games are offering, which was quite an exaggeration because in my opinion this reflects the wrong expectations that people have built ever since Starfield was teased all those years ago. And what you need to realize is that Bethesda don't make specialty games for a niche audience like Cloud Imperial Games are doing. They make AAA games that are designed to appeal to a wide audience and thus have to offer accessible gameplay that as many people as possible will be able to enjoy. That is why the flight sequence looks like it has been played with a mouse and keyboard with an Xbox controller, simply because that is how the overwhelming majority of players will be enjoying the game. And make no mistake, Starfield's flight experience will be very similar to what the Old Republic is offering or what Freelancer used to offer back in those days, simply because it is not the core experience that you would normally have in a role-playing game. Instead, it is going to be just a mere addition meant to add flavor to your character story. So there you have it, guys, my thoughts on the current controversies that have surrounded Starfield since its gameplay reveal footage was shown last Sunday. And I really believe that the reason why, a few people have overreacted is because their expectations were being unreasonable, again, because of the very nature of the game, or perhaps a lack of understanding of the nature of the game. I also think that Bethesda was perhaps at fault too, also for not communicating enough to the space game enthusiast community, who were, for the past couple of years they've been quite spoiled. They've had the chance to play quality space simulations that have significantly risen the bar in terms of what people now expect in games, especially with Star Citizen. The problem with Star Citizen is that it is a game that is not viable to make outside of its current funding model due to the amount of tech that needs to be completed for its creation, which is an investment that game companies like Microsoft will never make due to the risks involved. Anyway, guys, that is all for today's video, but let me know in the comment section down below, how did you react to Starfield's gameplay reveal? Were you disappointed too, or were you thrilled with what you saw? Was it what you wanted to see? And what did please you in the footage? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you like this video, please don't hesitate to give it a like and share it with your friend or your org maybe, as it really helps the channel with the algorithm a lot. I also saw you guys did that with the last video I made about Starfield, and it really made a huge difference. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more gaming content. This has been the Eradicator. I will see you guys later.